Have you ever truly looked at a chair, not just used it, but really wondered what it is? Is it just a structure for sitting, or is it something deeper, something stranger? We move through the world surrounded by objects so familiar that we rarely question their existence. But what if the things we touch, name, and rely on, like chairs, phones, or spoons, aren't actually things at all? What if they're just convenient illusions, useful groupings of smaller parts we've decided to treat as wholes? After all, a chair doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's assembled piece by piece from wood or metal, held together by screws and glue. But when does it stop being a collection of materials and start being a chair? Is it when it looks a certain way, functions a certain way, or is it simply when we say it is? And if we stop calling it a chair or take it apart, does the chair vanish like it was never really there to begin with? Let's take a step back. Imagine a single sheet of paper, ordinary, flat, simple. Now fold it into the shape of a crane. Did something new just come into existence? Is the crane a new object, or is it still just a piece of paper folded in a certain way? And if we unfold it again, did the crane disappear? This puzzle isn't just about paper, it's about everything. Objects, it seems, are more about form than substance. A chair is not different in material from a pile of its parts. What changed is how the parts were arranged. This raises a curious idea. Are objects only patterns in matter, like music is a pattern in sound? If so, then objects are not made of something. They are made by something, by arrangement, by structure, by interpretation. If we see a pattern and call it an object, does that make it real? Or are we just seeing what we want to see, organizing chaos into neat categories that make our world easier to navigate? This idea begins to mess with our sense of reality. If objects like chairs are just patterns we've agreed upon, then what does that say about reality itself? Is it objective and solid, or is it more like a shared hallucination? Language plays a huge role here. The word chair tricks our brain into thinking we're pointing at something real, something fixed. But a chair can be made of wood, plastic, or even stone. It can have 3 legs, or 4, or none. So what makes it a chair? It's not the material, and clearly not a strict set of physical features. It's a function, a use case, and more importantly, a label. Without that label, without that purpose, does the chair exist in any meaningful way? Maybe reality isn't made of things at all, but of relationships, uses, and agreements. If that sounds strange, remember, a nation isn't a physical object either, but it shapes laws, maps, and lives. Maybe a chair too is just a useful fiction we all silently agree to believe in. But here's where things get even more mind-bending. What if the objects around us aren't just convenient labels, but illusions born out of how our brains process simplicity from chaos? Think about it. At a microscopic level, that chair isn't solid at all. It's mostly empty space with atoms buzzing around, governed by quantum fields. There's no hard border where the chair ends and the air begins, no sharp transition from object to environment. Yet we sit on it without falling through. That's the power of mental models. They help us navigate reality without fully grasping it. The chair isn't just something out there, it's something in here, inside our minds. Our brains carve the world into chunks we can name, use, and forget about. We don't see atoms, we see objects. And maybe that's the trick. We aren't interacting with the thing itself, but with an interpretation our minds are constantly generating. The chair is not a thing, it's a pattern our brain insists on recognizing. So, where does that leave us? Are chairs real? Well, not in the way we usually think. They're not independent, self-contained objects floating in reality. They're patterns, interpretations, arrangements of stuff that meet certain conditions in our minds, functional, visual, and contextual. The same atoms could be a pile of wood or a throne, depending on how we think about them. So instead of asking, does the chair exist? Maybe we should ask, is there a pattern of stuff here that chairs well? Existence, then, isn't a binary yes or no. It's a spectrum of usefulness, relevance, and perspective. The universe may be made of particles, but we live in a world of stories, meanings, and categories. And the chair? It's not something you sit on. It's the idea that sitting is possible at all, supported by stuff, shaped by minds. The world isn't full of objects, it's full of opportunities to make sense of things, and that sense is what we call reality.